We await a new heaven and a new earth. In other words, after Christ comes a second time, heaven and earth will not be the same as we know them now. If you listen for just 2 minutes, you'll find this really interesting. If you take Adam and Eve, and they were originally in the Garden of Eden, and they were perfectly happy. There was harmony between the two of them. They didn't fight. There was harmony between the two of them. There was harmony between Adam and Eve and nature. Everything was just provided for them. Everything was just provided for them. There was harmony between Adam and Eve and animals. Animals, they didn't kill each other. And listen, this is the important one. And there was harmony between Adam and Eve and God. That's the way it was. That's the way it was originally intended. It's the way God made it. Death was never supposed to occur. Human beings were never to die. Death, pain, suffering, misery, all these things came into the world only as a result of human sin and human disobedience. And that's the only reason. That's a good question. Back then, when you had Adam and Eve, our first parents, was there a heaven? Yes or no? You see, that's a very good question, because no human being had ever fell, so there was no human being in hell. The angels had fallen, but no human being had ever fallen, so there was no human being in hell. And there was no reason to have a heaven because human beings were with God. That was heaven. It was like heaven on earth, if you want to say it that way. There was no heaven. So that was the original thing. Now what I would say to you, and this is just my interpretation, and my interpretation is the following, is when he comes again the second time, what he originally intended will come about. The way it was before is the way it's going to be, because that's what he intended. And that's my interpretation of where it says, we await a new heaven and a new earth in which righteousness dwells. Heaven and earth are going to change. It's repeatedly said in the scriptures. And it's going to happen when Christ comes a second time. How you interpret it, different people have different interpretations of it. But my interpretation of that is that what Christ intended originally is going to come about when he comes back a second time.